Hey, good morning, my friends. MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa here. Hey, I'm having a bad hair day. I can't do anything with it. So this is what you get. You just get pure me. I think a solid weather update for you. We're going to look at the weekend. We're going to look at how now again Hurricane Ian is Ian is going to impact our weather. You'll be able to actually start to see it on the satellite picture, and it impacts our weather in a drying and warming fashion, not what you would think. So we will look at that. And yes, still no info from my area around Rotunda West and Englewood, Florida. Just getting little bits and pieces. Cell phone service and internet is a serious, serious problem. And it brings to light to me, we got a serious problem when disasters occur because I'm living it on communications. You know, it used to be, and I am a ham radio operator. I haven't really been very active, but that's what ham radio was actually made for. All right, so good morning, everyone. Hopefully, I'm not locked up. It kind of looks locked up on my phone, but not on the. There we go. Okay. All right. So, start off with the satellite here in Michigan, and we have a gorgeous day. This has got to be a work skipper Friday for you. Hey, good morning, Ron Johnson, Albuquerque, and Wayne Lynch. Good morning. And Brian Langley from Owasso. Good morning to you. So the very far southeastern edge of the screen, those are the high clouds from now again Hurricane Ian. See the clouds out in Minnesota and Wisconsin as they come this way? They kind of shrink. That's what a hurricane does. It sends out this sinking, drying circulation for hundreds of miles surrounding it. So as clouds try to come to Michigan, they will dry up. And hence, we've got ourselves a sunny weekend on the way. All right, here is the model that we like best to just give you. I like best to just give you the overall pattern for the next week. And it usually does quite well until we get into individual storms. Then we have to look at something closer. But this is Saturday right here. Okay, one thing we will watch for. So there's going to be a few influences from the hurricane. Pardon me, I have to sneeze. And I sneezed 5 times yesterday, and that's probably the most times I've ever sneezed in a day in my life for some reason. So a few impacts. I told you about the drying and the somewhat warming. I don't want you to think that we're going to have summertime type weather, but somewhat drying. But then the other thing will be we'll get into a northeast wind. We'll get into an enhanced breeze, and the northeast wind in our area, at least the east side of the state, comes across Lake Huron, less friction, and it tends to be fairly vigorous. So get ready for that. And the way we see that on a weather map are the black squiggly lines. Those are the pressure lines. The closer the pressure lines, the stronger the wind. So you'll see as we go into Sunday, the pressure lines pack together some, meaning a northeast wind. I figure gusting to 25 miles an hour at times. Okay, so we're at Saturday, and the northeast wind is starting to establish maybe 10, 15 miles an hour. And we get into Sunday. Now look at Sunday morning. We've got 1, 2, 3 isobars in lower Michigan. My rule of thumb for you is 5 miles an hour of gust for every one of those isobars. So you're looking at a 15, 20 mile an hour gust, maybe 25 because it's coming off of Lake Huron. Hey, good morning, Violet. Hey, good morning, Violet Winter from Grand Blanc. I think I know you. Jason's grandma, perhaps. Monday, so Sunday is gorgeous. Maybe we get high clouds. Monday, gorgeous. Tuesday, gorgeous. Wednesday, cold front approaching. The other thing you can see on this map, I know it's got a lot of squigglies on it. I apologize. You are able to handle it. Once you get your eyes trained to see what I'm looking at, you're able to handle it. So there's red lines and there's blue lines on this map. Those are the temperatures at 5,000 feet up. And the way you use them is if you see a bunch of into a bunch of the red, you know it's warm. And if you see the blues, you know that it's going to get a lot colder. And that's what we see coming here. So jump back onto it with me. By the way, this is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa with the MLive Morning Weather Update. Thanks for joining me. So we're into Monday and Tuesday of next week, and it's gorgeous. Then we're into Wednesday. And notice the cold front coming from the north. Notice the packing of the colder isotherms, the colder temperature lines. Wednesday night, Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, and they crash pretty far south. Mary Lemons driving to Michigan from Maryland on Saturday. Any problems? Okay. Just a second. Let me go back for you on that in a second here. And then you could see that as we get into next Friday, we're solidly into a fall cold air mass that only lasts for a day and then lets up pretty quickly. And that's what our warmer falls are doing. They still bring a little cold day or two, but then they warm up pretty good. All right, so let's see. We're going for, let's see, who was it here? Mary Lemons. All right, let's take a look at this sector for Mary if we can. Okay, so she says driving to Michigan from Maryland on Saturday. Okay, that's Saturday morning. That's Saturday afternoon. That's Saturday evening. So you're going to want to try to plot out your course. You know, it's tropical rain, so it's not terrible, but this is actually the storm center looks to be in West Virginia at that time and heading northward. So yes, I think you probably maybe email me, Mary Lemons, and we'll figure out what you should do. So mtorregr, Torregr at mlive.com, and we'll figure out what you should do. All right, so we know that we have a good weekend with sunshine, a great Work Skipper Friday on the way. We know that we're dry Monday, Tuesday, and then a cold front somewhere Wednesday or Thursday, colder temperatures for a couple of days. All right, so we know the scenario. Now let's look at the actual high temperatures. Okay, 60s today, mid 60s, mid to upper 60s tomorrow. And remember, the hurricane could boost that to 70, except that we have the northeast wind. So if anybody hits 70, I would say it's Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, southwest corner. You could probably get to that. You're away from that northeast wind. Sunday, northeast wind showing up on the temperatures as a high in the 50s in the northeast and in the thumb, 60s in the southwest corner. Monday, we're all back to the 60s. Tuesday, we're into the mid 60s. Wednesday, mid to upper 60s. And then Thursday, high temperatures in the 50s as that cold front comes through. And let's look at the temperatures. Tomorrow morning, probably no frost and not on Sunday. Monday, it's indicating temperatures can drop down into the upper 30s with some scattered frost. Tuesday, 30s in spots. Wednesday, a little warmer. And then probably by Friday. Friday is the day that I would target where we could all have some sort of frost and or freezing temperature. 6 to 10 day forecast. Now, 6 to 10 day forecast for you. Now starting to reflect that quick little cold spell Thursday, Friday, Saturday of next week, and the 8 to 14 day reflecting that one or two of those days get into that cold spell and the warmth building to the west. All right, one last update for folks. Give you just a verbal update first. Hurricane Ian has increased back to a hurricane from what I'm seeing on the latest advisory and now heading toward somewhere in the Carolinas. So this is what you're going to see is the forecast fan let me work it here and get it in a good perspective for you so you can kind of get a feel for what's going on. So there's the track into South Carolina somewhere. You could see Charleston there on the left side of the forecast track. And then there's Wilmington, North Carolina outside of the track. So somewhere in there. And it is expected to be a hurricane with winds of 85 miles an hour, gusts to 105 in the worst spots as it gets close to shore. So 2 landfalls with this hurricane. And there's your update. I'll hang on with you here for a moment, just give you an update if you care. Some people are concerned, so we have what we hope will someday be our retirement home in it's a place called Rotunda West, Florida. If you look on the map, you'll see a big circle with pie pieces. That's Rotunda West. Actually, the first developers were Ed McMahon, Tony Dorsett, and O.J. Simpson. And this whole thing has canals around it, golf courses in the pie pieces, and then they were going to dredge out a little section, and it would be Gulf of Mexico access. That was back in the 70s. Well, the DNR, from what we heard, kind of put a squash on the dredging, so it remains landlocked. But when you see that circle on the map, down by Inglewood, Venice, north of Fort Myers, west of Port Charlotte, west of Punta Gorda, that's where we have our someday to be retirement home. So the eye passed just south of Rotunda West, and Placida, and Inglewood, Florida. By just south, I'm talking maybe 15 miles as the crow flies, and it passed just north of Fort Myers. So on the south side of an eye, with the movement from west to east, the south side of the eye bears the brunt, as you saw, Fort Myers. Devastation, and we were only 25 miles from extreme devastation. We don't know yet what our house looks like. There is terrible cell phone coverage. So the word getting out is just that, if your neighbor can look at your house, your neighbor has to get somewhere to get cell phone coverage. And it's hard to get somewhere because of trees down and low spots still flooded and stuff like that. So it's just trickling in. We're hoping to hear today. We're hoping. I'm optimistic that our house is still standing. I'm not. It would be a miracle if we didn't have a roof leak or a pool cage that wasn't gone or a tree on our house. That would be a miracle if it was perfect. And I got a good feeling because I feel like my house was in probably almost the best spot of the worst, and positioned facing the vulnerable spots were positioned almost best. So I got a good feeling that our situation will be better than a lot of folks. And the naysayers will say, hey, you chose to have a house. Yes, we did. And I've been improving it to make it more hurricane proof, for example. And a lot of people said to me, boy, what luck. And I said, no, not what luck. I, as a meteorologist, wanted to be prepared. I had all new hurricane impact resistant windows installed in the house 2 weeks ago. It wasn't luck 2 weeks ago. I've been working on the project for 2 years. You know how things are with supply line and finding a contractor and all this stuff and permitting. So I feel very comfortable that all the openings in my house were buttoned up. And, what does a house do when it takes 80 to 110 mile an hour wind gusts with 12 inches of rain and about 9 of that in 4 hours. So we'll just have to see. I'll keep you updated on that. But what we some great weather on the way, and actually a big chunk of it is courtesy of the current Hurricane Ian. So thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. Mary Lemons, email me and we'll connect, and I'll let you know about that Maryland trip, because it looks like you're going to want to make some decisions, because you will be under the remnants of tropical rain. That's not something you want to be into in the mountains of Maryland, West Virginia, and whatnot. They do get flash flooding. So there'll be some decisions you want to make on timing and route and stuff like that. Take care. Have yourselves a great weekend. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa.